An exquisitely preserved in ovo theropod dinosaur embryo sheds light on avian-like pre-hatching postures. This paper coming out this week shows that we might not know what we think we know about dinosaurs. Now, baby Yingliang, an exquisitely preserved dinosaur embryo, was discovered inside an Oviraptorosaur egg and had been lying in a closet for years until recently being unearthed and studied. Now, over the last 100 years, many fossilized dinosaur eggs and nests have been found. But finding one with a well-preserved embryo inside is exceedingly rare. Now, researchers reporting in the journal iScience on December 21st, 2021, have detailed one such specimen discovered in southern China, and you're looking at it now. What's more, their studies suggest that the Oviraptorosaurus, a group of theropods closely related to birds, well, you know them as the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park, and you're looking at some mock-ups here. Well, these closely related to bird-type dinosaurs took on a distinctive tucking posture before they hatched, a behavior that had been considered unique to birds until now. It raises the possibility that tucking behavior may have evolved first among non-avian theropods during the Cretaceous, and not from birds in more recent times. Now, most known non-avian dinosaur embryos are extremely incomplete, with skeletons typically disarticulated. And the team was very surprised to see the embryo beautifully preserved inside the dinosaur egg, lying in a bird-like posture, in fact. The posture had not been recognized in non-avian dinosaurs before this moment. And you can see a representation here. Now, the fossilized dinosaur comes from the Gansu Jingxi province in southern China, where millions of fossils are unearthed every day for sale on the retail market, including plants, lizards, fish, and other animals. And in this case, dinosaur eggs. Now, the specimen had been acquired in 2000 by Liang Lui, the director of a company called the Yingliang Group, who suspected it might contain egg fossils. But then it ended up in the storage facility, a large forgotten bunker, until about 10 years later when the museum staff, during the construction of the Yingliang Stone Nature History Museum, sorted through the boxes and unearthed the fossils. And here you're looking at that museum. Now, museum staff identified them as dinosaur eggs and saw some bones on the broken cross sections of one of the eggs. Lida Jing of China University of Geosciences, Beijing, said that the fossils were then prepared, unveiling the embryo hidden within, which they named baby Yingliang. And in the new study that we shared at the beginning of this podcast, Jing and colleagues report that the head lies ventral to the body, with feet on either side. Amazing. And the back curled along the blunt pole of the egg, in a posture previously unrecognized in non-avian dinosaur. That's especially notable because it's reminiscent of a late-stage modern bird embryo like a chicken, which has many implications that we'll get to at the end. Now, comparison of the specimen to other late-stage Oviraptorosaurus embryos suggests that before hatching, Oviraptorosaurus developed avian-like postures late in the incubation. In modern birds, such coordinated embryonic movements are associated with tucking, a behavior that's controlled by the central nervous system and is critical for the hatching process and hatching success. The notion that such pre-hatching behavior may have originated along non-avian theropods can now be further investigated through more studies of other fossil embryos. But first, the researchers say they'll continue studying this rare specimen in even more depth, using various imaging techniques to image its internal anatomy, such as skull bones and other body parts that are still covered in rocks. Absolutely amazing. Now, we're going to share with you an absolutely amazing reconstruction, an animated reconstruction of the fossil egg in question and the unique geometry of the embryo inside, suggesting that it is closer to a chicken than we ever believed. And it is quite fascinating. Well, plus the elongation of the egg, I think, is quite unique. To understand that dinosaur eggs were long and thin, similar to some reptiles still on Earth, but that this particular embryo had the feet on the outside of the head, tucking down towards the buttocks or the anus, the same way a chicken is before it hatches, suggests that these dinosaurs, well, the reason they controlled the Earth was because they hatched out, yes, every 21 days or so. That's the standard life cycle of a chicken. And each dinosaur or chicken can have 10, 20, 30, or more eggs. And it doesn't matter if they're their own eggs. They're happy to take eggs from other chickens and raise them as their own. And this is some fascinating information. The last graphic we're going to look at comes directly from the paper, and it shows the cross-section of the egg that we're talking about now, which they will do deeper research here by probably removing some of the fill here and going deeper into the embryo. Maybe just using imaging. But the positioning of the bones articulated as such in the Oviraptoroid theropod dinosaur, and how similar it is, and what they suspect the similar postures are. These are the postures of a domestic chicken. Day 16, the head comes here. Day 17, the feet come up. Day 18, the head turns a little. Day 19, there's more tucking. And by day 20, a day before it hatches, the wings and the feet are over the head and the full tuck towards the anus. And then boom, domestic chicken hatches. That's amazing. Because an animal like this hasn't hatched out of an egg for tens of millions of years, 64 million years at the minimum. But the fact that most of these oviraptorids were littering the Earth in the Triassic period over 200 million years ago says a lot. That these birds actually walked across the Earth, bird-like dinosaurs, dino birds, whatever you want to call them. They were walking across Earth for over 150 million years until the cataclysm 64 million years ago in the Yucatan Peninsula that ended, well, 65% of all life on Earth, including the Oviraptoroid theropod dinosaur, which was replaced by the ever so docile chicken, unless you have roosters, and you know what I'm talking about. Hope you got something out of the video. Just an amazing discovery we thought that the general public would like to hear about in greater detail. Hope you got something out of the video. Chickens, yes, they're dinosaurs, and we all knew it. And now we have the science to prove it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people and be safe. If you're raising chickens, well, you're raising velociraptors.